All right, guys, today we are taking a look at the Varavon Birdycam 3-axis gimbal stabilizer. Now, I received it a few days ago, but I've been actually too busy to even power the system on, so I just had the battery on charge. And so right now, I'm just going to go through the steps of powering it on for the first time. Now, the system comes assembled. The handles do fold down, so that's the only thing that you need to, extend and then lock down. Outside of that, it comes pretty much ready to fly. Again, I haven't powered it on. I haven't balanced my camera, but we're going to go through those steps just in case you guys are interested in this product and you kind of want to know what to expect once you get it. Now, before we get into this, we'll take a quick look at the bag. It comes with a very, very huge, nice bag. It has some foam padding in here, so you can get your system back in here when you're carrying it around. Now, it's not an official hard case where you're going to check it in at the airlines and hope it comes back not damaged. It's not built for that. I don't suggest that you check it into your airlines. So if you're looking to travel with your gimbal, you're probably going to look for a case that's going to be more robust than this. Otherwise, traveling, throw it in your car, this is great. So let's put this away and then we'll get back to the gimbal. All right, so as I've mentioned, this is the first time I'm going to power the system on. I haven't done it before, but a quick tour about the gimbal, some features maybe you didn't know, I didn't know until I got the unit, is there are actually locks on the gimbal, on the certain axis of the gimbal here. So if we unwind this, there's one back here. The gimbal will move freely, okay? And when you're balancing your camera, and obviously when you're using your system, you want this to be loose, unlocked, ready to go. Now, it is very handy to have these locks on the pan, tilt, and roll. So what you do is you just screw this on. There's a little rubber knob here that kind of sits in place, and that will prevent your camera from tilting or rolling as you're transporting. Another thing that it comes with is a little stand on the back of the gimbal here. So if your camera is mounted, you have the tilt and the roll locked. You can set your gimbal down. You don't always have to run and find a stand. So this works perfectly for that. Just lock your your tilt and roll, and then just set it down on the floor. So very cool. This is a stand. Stand is very easy to assemble. There's only like 3 pieces to this, but this is how you would mount your gimbal. There's a bubble level at the bottom here to make sure that once you're balancing this, you're doing it on a level surface. And then there are independent feet on the stand here. So again, you can get your system completely level as you begin balancing it. All right, so now that we took a look at the bag, we're going to go and balance this gimbal physically. So we're not even going to power it on yet. The most important thing about these gimbals is that you balance the camera. Now, the great thing about the Varavon Birdycam is it has tons of fine-tuning options, toolless, no tools needed. Once you get your camera on here, very, very easy to dial in. Now, this is going to be my first time doing this, so bear with me if I take too long, but from the looks of it, it should be fairly quick. So the first thing you want to do is detach the quick release plate here. There is a button underneath the plate here to release the quick release. Now, all gimbals should have a quick release system. It just makes life so much easier. They use a D-ring under here. So again, toolless. You don't even need a quarter to tighten this up. I'm just gonna pick a place to where the QR is as much forward as possible, because I know most of the weight is on the front of the DSLR. So I know that I need to put my plate more forward instead of all the way back here, right? It doesn't make any sense. So I want to make sure that the center of balance is at the center of the plate here. So I'm just going to tighten that up, make sure it's as square as possible. All right, and then we are going to get this guy back in here. Now, I have all of my locks loose at this point, but right now what I want to do is I want to work on one at a time. So the first thing I'm going to work on is just the tilt. So I'm going to lock this roll axis back here, right? So now all I have to deal with is the tilt here. So what I'm trying to do is make sure before I lock down my QR plate, I find a good spot where the camera is fairly balanced. Now I can adjust this later, but I just want something that's fairly balanced right now so that it doesn't fall all over the place. Now it's pitching back a little bit. That's okay. I could move that forward, but I'm sure I'm going to make a lot of other adjustments. So the first adjustment that I want to make is balancing the tilt. Now, to do that, I'm gonna position the camera on its back, and right away I notice that the camera wants to fall down. So that means that it's sitting too low in this tray, and that when it's positioned like this, there's more weight on this side of the motor. Right? So here's your motor. You got the top half and the bottom half. There's too much weight on the bottom half here, so it's just going to drop straight down. So what do I need to do? Bring this guy up. On the Varavon, very easy to do. You just loosen up these thumb knobs on the side here. There's indicators marking where each side is, so we're going to bring that up. Let me crank this guy down, make sure I'm level. So I'm going to go to, let's say we'll go to 4. Let's go to 4 on each side here. And then I'm just going to put it on its back, still dropping down. Okay, so we need to go a little bit higher. I'm going to crank this guy up to, say, 3.5 on each side. 3.5. A little bit slower, but still bottom heavy. So we'll crank it up a little bit. We'll go to 3.25. If I can figure out where a quarter is. Okay, there you go, flat on its back. Not bad, right? So I'm just going to lock this guy down now that it's flat on its back and it's not falling either direction. Now, if we hold the camera in this position, it's falling towards its back. Now, that has to do with the fore and aft position of the camera. There's too much weight. When the camera's in this position, there's too much weight on this side as opposed to this side of the motor, so it's going to fall in that direction. So what we need to do is pull the camera forward when it's sitting upright like this. So to pull it forward, you just loosen up this QR plate. We're going to shift it a little bit forward, lock it down. Not bad. So at this point in time, wherever we position the camera on its tilt, it should be able to stay that way. So that means there's no additional weight on the front or on the back of the camera. So no matter where I'm at the center of balance, as well as the height adjustment here also allows it to sit on its back as well. So we've already balanced that. That was actually very quick. Now for the roll, let's loosen up the roll here. Okay, so the camera obviously falling over to right side, right? So what we need to do is move the camera in this direction here. To do that, there are 4 screws at the base and a thumb knob at the bottom here. So we're just going to turn this thumb knob and drive the camera over to camera left. Okay, not enough. Not bad. I think we're almost there. Maybe just a little bit. There you go. So now the camera is actually balanced in the center. Very cool, right? Very easy. This is the easiest gimbal I've balanced ever. It's Probably easier than the Movi as well. Look at that. Balanced, balanced, balanced. This should work really well. All right. One of the things that a lot of people will miss is balancing the yaw. So when you're running around with your gimbal and your handles are moving sideways, your camera could get thrown off and it could go crazy. So the way Varavon suggests that you test this is, again, loosen up your roll, right? Make sure this is not locked. Is that you put it on the stand and you tilt it. You tilt it. Now you see what happens immediately is when I lift it at a little angle, the camera is getting thrown off. So you can imagine that if I'm walking with this gimbal and I'm moving the handles, the camera's just going to sway all over the place, right? Look at that. See how it just kind of shifts its weight? Now, what I'm doing is I'm following what moves first. Now, it's the camera that is swinging in the direction, right? So if I lift this up and the camera goes down, that means I have too much weight on this side of the yaw, not enough on the back side. So I'm gonna push this back, okay? So what I'm gonna do is I'm loosen this up over here. Very easy, we're gonna slide this back a little bit. I'm just gonna take a wild guess here and lock this guy down. Now, when we lift it, let's see what happens. Okay, it's still shifting a little bit, so we're gonna pull it away from the camera. So I'll move this back a little bit more. And we're going to tilt it. There you go. See how that stays? That is how you get a good yaw. Just a little bit, still a little bit off, still a little bit on camera. Let's see. So we'll pull it back a little bit more. Again, I'm not using any tools to get this thing balanced. It is just easy. Look at that. So it's not dropping. And so you can imagine when you're walking, let's pick this up actually. So as you're walking and your handles are just kind of shifting like this, your yaw is not going to swing around. So now that we have everything balanced out, the motor should not have a hard time keeping it centered. Let's get this thing powered up. The battery goes up here. I believe it goes in this direction. Okay, and then the cable that hangs off of this handle is plugged in there. Go to 16 volt. Make sure that you remember to plug in your joystick. This disconnects because it folds down, so make sure that's plugged in. Turn the battery on here. There's an on-off switch underneath the joystick. Switch that's on. You'll see some lights blinking, but you won't get any noise right away. You just got to wait a little bit. I guess it boots up. There you go. So again, I haven't tuned any PIDs. I haven't tapped into the USB or the software here. They claim that this is ready to go. All you have to do is balance your camera, power it on, and you're ready to go. So let's get this off the stand. Test this out. Actually, something's loose here. Oh, my handles are a little loose. Okay, let's double check that. You make sure your handles are tight. I didn't double check that. Got follow mode over here. No follow there. The joystick working here? Yep, joystick button works. There you go. Oh, nice. Okay, so what I'm doing is I'm just toggling through the different profiles by clicking on the button. What's interesting is, let me show you. If I could show you. The joystick has these little lights over here. and it kind of tells you what mode you're in. So that's pretty cool. I haven't seen that before. So if you double click, it'll go into profile 2, and 2 lights will show up on the LEDs here. Click it 3 times, goes into a different profile. That's profile 3. Now, I don't know exactly what the differences are in the profiles just yet, but I can tell you that profile 3 has my tilt follow. So if I point up and point down, it'll follow that, as well as my pan follow. And then if I go to profile 1, I have my pan follow, but I don't have tilt follow. You notice it's not tilting up or down. And that's also not available in profile 2. Nothing there. But my joystick works to tilt up and down. Profile 1, my joystick does not work whatsoever. So I got to learn what these profiles do. But for the most part, it's ready to go. This was like the easiest gimbal I have ever set up. And hopefully those balancing tips help you guys out when you get your Birdycam. The fine tuning knobs are by far like the best I've seen on a gimbal. It makes life so much easier. If I have to swap cameras or swap lenses, I don't think I'd have a problem getting it set up within a few minutes. I would never tackle that with the other gimbals, the ones that require tools. Typically, when I'm bringing a gimbal on site, I dedicate it to one camera, one lens, balance and tune it for that, and that's it. That's what I'm running with all day. But this was incredibly easy. And you saw me in real time go through the steps, and you guys can do that too. The profile that's on here works great for the 5D and Sigma 20mm. I'll test it out with some lighter cameras. I don't think I'm going to have a problem though. I think the hardest part for most people is getting it balanced. And one problem that people run into all the time is not getting the yaw balanced properly. If you don't have that set up properly, the gimbal's just going to swing around. It's going to throw itself off, and then it starts going weird because it's trying to compensate. And that's because you don't have the yaw balanced correctly. So make sure that whatever camera you use, no matter the weight of the camera, you get everything balanced properly, the pitch, the roll, and the yaw. So you saw the steps in doing that with the Birdycam. If you guys have any questions, I have the unit here. Hopefully I can answer some of those questions, help you guys out with any of the problems that you're having. And check out more information about this stuff at cheesycam.com.